what could this mean when it comes to Onyx? So recently, something on the Onyx ecosystem called Chain made a post saying how it's possible through Chain, basically, the way I take a look at it, to launch cards in weeks but not months. Now, nothing I say is financial advice, but being able to launch cards in weeks, and again, not months, I think first of all, that could foster better enterprise adoption, in which case a lot of enterprises out there do care about time. Not to mention, I feel like this does align well with Onyx's closest competitor, which is called Zebic, which is really focused on cards, right, against Zebic. So I think that sometimes people kind of ignore that Chain is on the Onyx ecosystem. Furthermore, Chain, not too long ago, remember when it rebranded to Onyx, but then Chain as an entity, it's still kind of doing its thing, right? Not to mention the Ethereum bridge on Goliath, which is Onyx's layer 1 blockchain, that is powered by Chain. So I think, again, what I saw recently when it comes to Chain may kind of signify that something like that, again, could very well be well equipped to handle enterprise adoption, in which case, if they do want to create cards or something like that, they may not have to wait months, but maybe only weeks. Still, some people like to say, oh, that's kind of a long time, but compared to months, that's like not such a long time in my opinion. So overall, when it comes to Onyx, people like to say, oh, it kind of loses out to something like Zebic. Well, in terms of the diversity of the fundamentals, I feel like Zebic is doing more things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that Onyx loses out. And again, if something on the Onyx ecosystem is literally focused on cards, and then Zebic, which is Onyx's closest competitor, is very focused on cards, I think it makes it more evenly matched, right, when it comes to Onyx and Zebic. ZBCN has less holders, by the way, than XCN, but it has a bigger market cap. But you know what? Onyx has the historical notoriety. It kind of had pretty good attention earlier on, at least in 2025 when compared to Zebic. Not to mention, when it comes to something like Zebic, sure, it has backers like Circle, which is the creator of USDC, and Solana Ventures, which is also, again, a backer when it comes to Zebic. But at the same time, you know, I don't think Onyx necessarily loses out. XCN has around 145,000 holders. ZBCN has around 90,000. I don't think that Onyx is just necessarily going to get forgotten about while Zebic does its thing. I think it's more so of like a 1A, 1B, but I don't think it's necessarily losing out in either way, because sometimes we see XCN have a bigger market cap, sometimes we see Zebic have a bigger market cap. Tomato, tomato, that's the way you take a look at it. So when I see XCN being around 52 times, basically lower approximately than 25 cents, which I'm still thinking about, the main reaction is always, oh, you know, this is so bad and all this, but pretty much all of Onyx's competitors have had a pullback, generally speaking, you know, ever since 2025, right? Take a look at XLM, take a look at XDC, take a look at ZBCN, XPR, Swiftcoin, you know, also Ripple. In terms of the recognition and kind of the attention within this space, it's kind of went down a little bit as well, right? Ever since the market had a pullback. So it's not like it's only Onyx. So if a lot of projects are generally having a pullback, what am I going to focus on? I'm going to be focusing on the ones that I feel like have actual utility, the ones that actually have strong fundamentals, and ones that are actually working towards something, which I feel like Onyx is. They're working towards, you know, launching the mainnet of their layer 1 blockchain called Goliath. So that's what I want to focus on. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but if, let's say, we take an analogy, right? Let's say there's like a city or a town, and then, you know, let's say property prices are going down. What am I going to be focusing on? If, let's say, I'm a property developer, I'm going to be focusing on the ones that historically have showcased, you know, good momentum once the market picks up again. It's only natural for me to do that. And again, when I kind of correlate it to this space, right? What have I noticed usually does pretty good during a hypothetical altcoin season? Something that has a good community, something that has good fundamentals, and also something that typically actually has things going on when it comes to it. It doesn't need the best adoption, but they need some activity at least, right? I kind of view hypothetically Onyx as being one of them, because in terms of the amount of holders, around 145,000, right? That's pretty impressive. I take a look at its fundamentals. You know, it's a top 5 project within the global trade and finance space, within this specific space. That's pretty impressive. And third of all, you know, it's at least working towards the mainnet of the layer 1 blockchain called Goliath, right? So I see those 3 traits right there that historically I've seen usually does some pretty cool things during a hypothetical altcoin season. Does that always happen though? Nah, I don't think so, not necessarily. But typically I've seen that in some cases. It could be different, but I've seen that in some cases. So personally, I just haven't given up when it comes to Onyx. It's like, for instance, if I see a car that's reliable, not that expensive, and also on top that has a good track record, does it mean that it's going to be spotless? Does it mean that it's going to have no issues? No, right? There could be issues. It might not perform well, but the likelihood of maybe it performing well as opposed to not, again, when it comes to that car that has those traits, I think outweighs the downsides, maybe, right? So the way you take a look at it within this space, again, projects that typically have a good community, good fundamentals, and are at least working towards something and have activity, I've seen them do pretty okay sometimes during a hypothetical altcoin season. Sometimes I do see those traits when it comes to Onyx, so I just haven't given up overall. Now, personally, though, I mean, the kind of latest thing, I guess, that Onyx has, updated us with or posted about was how around 6 billion XCN was being locked up, basically, through the Onyx app. So it's not really the most impressive thing, but at the same time, at least, it's an update. A project can't always just release the most fantastic updates of all time, in my opinion. I mean, sometimes there's like ups and downs and the market isn't doing the best. However, you know what? The thing is, for me, I just personally don't want to give up. I'm still waiting, still holding, and just staying patient overall. I mean, I could leave when it comes to Onyx, but I just personally don't want to do that. I still like it fundamentally. And again, when I take a look at Onyx overall, it's just not a project where I would just want to give up on personally. So I think that generally speaking, as long as I feel like Chain is still doing things, and as long as I feel like there's still some activity when it comes to Onyx, I feel like as of right now is one of the worst times for me to just leave. I mean, the greed and fear index for this space is at extreme fear. So what I basically leave at like rock bottom territory, and I'm not talking about the rocks, rock bottom, right? I'm talking about like actual, pretty much historically, even if we take a look at something called sentiment, we're at rock bottom territory when it comes to alt season discussions, historically. Do I want to leave at that moment? No, thank you. No, sir. I'm not going to be doing that. So I'm still going to be holding. I mean, I am dollar cost averaging once a month, but even if I didn't, I mean, I just don't want to leave anyways. That's just the way to take a look at it. I mean, if I can't dollar cost average anymore, I'll just be holding, that's it. But my aim is to, of course, still stay consistent by dollar cost averaging once a month, but I am not telling anyone to do anything. But again, some of my friends out there, they're just holding. They don't even want to acquire anymore, which is, not up to me, right? But I can't speak on anyone's behalf. But personally for me, I'm still dollar cost averaging once a month, but if I can't, I'll just still be holding. That's kind of my mindset. I just don't want to leave right now, though. That's the thing. Just because the roller coaster is pretty much at the bottom as of right now. Is it going to stay that way forever? In some cases, the roller coaster could maybe move in the opposite direction. But it could stay maybe at those ranges for quite a while, the bottom ranges, right? At least when it comes to the charts. So yeah, I don't want to leave at that moment. That's just my mindset. I don't want to realize all of it, basically, even though I am not telling anyone to do anything. However, again, it's just been a quick update when it comes to Onyx. I'll be making more updated videos when it comes to Onyx if they do have something coming out. If let's say they announce something new, or if let's say Chain announces something, I'll be sure to talk about it. So yeah, hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. And I just want to say thank you for watching. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.